Hello and welcome to the Human Echoes rundown for M. Night Shyamalan's Split. Now, before we can go any farther into the review or address any details of the movie at all, we have to talk about the fact that M. Night Shyamalan has essentially become synonymous with the twist ending. All the way back with The Sixth Sense, he kicked it off. Everybody's minds were blown by that. He's been doing that more or less consistently throughout his filmography. So the odds are that you're going to be going into this looking for the twist. At least I was. And I don't know if this is a spoiler to say, but there's not really a twist in this movie. Not in the sense that you would expect an M. Night Shyamalan reality warping, perception changing twist to happen. There are things that become revealed, there are plot points that are uncovered and things that become clearer than they are to start with. But the movie is essentially going in the direction that you're expecting it to go, which would be fine if it ended up somewhere a little bit more substantial. To get into the meat of this review, the basic story is, as you've probably seen in the trailer, James McAvoy plays a man with DID, which is dissociative identity disorder. For those of us laymen, that's multiple personalities. They don't hide that in the trailers. They don't hide that in the movie. That's very early established. That's what we're dealing with. And the execution of that element of the story is maybe the best thing about the movie. And I'm not, in a movie that has many, many good things about it, James McAvoy, 100% commits. And not just commits, but he absolutely knocks it out of the park with portraying these multiple personalities, one of whom's a woman, one of whom's a child. The nuance that he brings to that performance is just incredible. He is not holding anything back, and his talent is absolutely the best thing about the movie. The other main character of the story is Anya Taylor-Joy's character, Casey, who's abducted with two other girls at the opening of the movie, and really it's about them trying to figure out a way to get out of this prison that they've been put in by this crazy guy with multiple personalities. And the interesting angle to the movie is that the way they have to do this is by playing these personalities off of each other, by using the ones that might be more sympathetic against some of the others, because the premise of the film is that this multiple personality disorder manifests in completely and fully different consciousnesses. So that if you are talking to the child, he has all of the aspects of the child. He does not have the knowledge that the others have. He does not have the cunning that the others have. And so he can be fooled in a way. And it really helps that not only does James McAvoy commit to his role in the movie, but the movie itself commits to this premise in a really solid and interesting way. It's a dumb premise. It's a real dumb premise. But M. Night Shyamalan takes it seriously, and because he takes it so seriously, it works pretty well. It gets more and more outlandish, and you're worried that you're going to get in a Lucy situation, right? Where the premise of Lucy is she's getting more powerful, she eventually becomes like a godlike thing, and you stop being able to believe that, I don't think a person's mind could do that. That seems pretty unreasonable, that you could just you could basically become a Jedi. Probably not for real. But in Split, they step you up into the outlandish elements of DID that this movie is portraying slowly enough and with enough investment that you kind of buy it. You don't 100% buy it. You still understand that it's kind of a schlocky idea. But M. Night Shyamalan commits to this so fully that you don't question it as much as you would think you would. And that's the strength of the movie. The weakness is in when you try to figure out what the movie's trying to say. Because it comes so close to having a message about being a victim and what it means to be abused and what comes out of that. And yet it never quite actually says anything. It has all of these building blocks in place. It has all of these different elements that fit together in a way that you think, okay, we're going somewhere. Like, I see this, I see how this correlates with that, how this element lines up with this element, and you're on board with that. I was on board with that. And then the movie doesn't do a lot with that. It doesn't, like, take all that and tie it together and put it in a bow and say, this is what we're saying. It just sort of leaves you with, well, here's a bunch of pieces and some ideas that we had. You put it together and see if you can make a thing for yourself, because we sure don't have a thing to say. And the characters say a lot. The characters have a lot to say about being victimized and becoming stronger through that or not so, and people having it too easy, and therefore there's a lot being said by different people in the movie, but the movie itself, it seems, never takes a stance on, okay, here's the right place and here's the wrong place. And I don't need it to be all spelled out exactly, but it feels like it doesn't have any kind of thesis. So it flounders at the end, and then at the very end, the final scene, which I'm not going to spoil any details, but the final scene feels like a joke. I think it was a joke. I mean, legitimately, it feels like the kind of something that someone on Reddit would write as like, and then this happens. That theory that everybody has about the beginning of Inception when Leonardo DiCaprio washes up on the beach that he had just been through Titanic. It's as if Christopher Nolan, like, cut to the Titanic, like, footage from the Titanic movie in his movie at the very end and said, hey guys, look, no, that actually took place in his dream. It's as if that happened, and it would almost be less egregious if they did it as an end credits, like an after the credits thing. But they don't. They put it at the end of the movie. It caps off this movie that really doesn't have a strong conclusion that it comes to, and then tells this joke. One senses because they thought no one would stay through the credits to watch an after credit scene, and so they just threw it at the end of the movie instead. And it doesn't mean anything. A lot of this movie just, it bums me out because it never means it. It never says anything. And M. Night Shyamalan is doing great work otherwise here. I mean, he comes back with a vengeance last year or the year before. I don't think it was last year with The Visit. He's doing these great low budget, sort of high concept-y things with Blumhouse. And this is another of that flavor, right? It's very much, in like 2 or 3 rooms that the whole movie takes place. You're in this sort of prison area. There's a psychologist lady who has an office, and you see the interior of that. And that's basically it as far as locales. And again, similar to The Visit, where you just mostly had the kids at their grandparents' house. That's 90% of your shooting. So you get a soundstage or, some actual house somewhere and film there. M. Night Shyamalan doing this low budget stuff and yet bringing an incredible amount of artistry to it. Cinematography is impeccable. The editing is great. Like, you never confused about where you are. It's all real, like, well put together, but it doesn't lead to anything. And that's disappointing. That's real disappointing because it could. It's so close to leading to something that you can taste it. You can taste, like, you can smell it in the air of the movie theater of there's, like, a solid conclusion to this, like, within 2 or 3 more scenes. Where is that at? Where is that at, movie? And it just doesn't, like, it's like smelling somebody cooking and you're so hungry, and, like, it's like you can taste the fajitas in your mouth. Oh, and they're like the sizzling, you can hear the sizzling off in the kitchen, and then you go out into the kitchen and it's just microwave popcorn somehow. Microwave popcorn's okay. Get that Cousin Willie's microwave popcorn from your local Pick and Save or whatever your local pick 'em up 10% ad grocery store is, but it's not that sizzling fajita you were smelling. So that's where I come down on Split. I'm split on it. I made a joke, guys. Laugh at me. But it's true. I think that there's incredible work being done here by M. Night Shyamalan as a director, by James McAvoy and Anya Taylor-Joy as actors, and yet the story doesn't deliver the way I wanted it to. You won't go, I don't think you will come out of this movie hating it, but I think it's disappointing because you can see the shape of the really great movie this almost was in the shell of the okay movie that we got. But considering that this is a January release, we're talking about M. Night Shyamalan, you can't be super disappointed. And I'm so glad that he is still swinging. You know, he's swinging away. I love The Visit last year. I enjoyed this a lot, and it's cool to see this guy coming back. It's cool to see this guy finding his footing and you know, really saying, okay, I'm gonna work within this lower budget framework. I'm gonna make these smaller films that I can still put my imprints on. And him and Blumhouse are a match made in heaven. I hope that this is like a yearly thing. It may not be like this. I didn't love it, but this is an event. If Blumhouse and M. Night Shyamalan put out a movie every year for the next 5 years, I'm in line for that movie. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on Split. Thanks so much for watching. If you haven't done so already, hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be doing these rundowns every week. We won't be able to hit every movie each week, but there will be a movie that I'm interested in each week that we'll be covering. 99% of the time, it'll be new releases. So stay tuned for those. I'm Albert Berg for the Human Echoes Rundown, and I'll see you guys next week.